Behavioral Feedback Skills by Breaking Barriers Training. In this short training video, we will talk about the definition, model, and application of behavioral feedback skills. So let us start with the definition of behavioral feedback. Behavioral feedback is an effective tool for promoting efficient behavior. It enhances individuals' awareness of their behaviors in different situations and may result in improvement of desired behaviors. Now, let's move on to the SBC model of behavioral feedback. S stands for situation, when and where the behavior was displayed. What happened? What did the person say or do? Behavior, which is what did the person say or do, which was appropriate or inappropriate. And C stands for what was the or is the short and long-term impact of the behavior on the individual, others, and work. So we give behavioral feedback by first describing the situation. Since I saw you in the office yesterday, you did or said this, which may or may not have an impact, or may have a positive impact or a negative impact on the other individual, you, or the work. Now, let's look at the types of feedback. Behavioral feedback is of two types. Reinforcement feedback, which is what you said or did well or productive, which had a productive impact on the organization, on others, or on yourself. And the second type of feedback is redirectional feedback, where what you need to change or improve. Now, if we go back to SBC model, we talk about the situation that you need to keep doing. In that situation, the behavior you need to keep doing, and the impact was positive, hence you have to repeat. That is called reinforcement feedback. And redirectional feedback are those behaviors which you need to change or improve in order to get more productive outcomes. We also need to remember behavioral feedback is not appreciation or criticism. So you can't say to somebody that your presentation was really good, or you were really good, or you are careless. When you talk about people being careless, good, awesome, bad, we are commenting on their personality. And when we are commenting on their personality, it becomes criticism and not feedback, and it does not help people. At the same time, appreciation may make people happy, but the appreciation cannot improve people. What improves people is either reinforcement feedback, which is telling them what they are doing well and right, and redirectional feedback, the things that they need to improve on. Let us quickly now look at the important tips of behavioral feedback. The first one is, be concrete and describe the behavior as clearly and specifically as possible. So do not use ambiguous terms saying that the presentation was very good, or the document that you created is very good, the call that you took was very good. See, good is since subjective, people will not be able to improve. Make sure the person understands the feedback, which means just check with the other person. Did you understand where you need to improve on? Did you also understand what you have been doing right? So please have 100% clarity on this point, that people understand what feedback you've given. The third point is, tell the person which behaviors are acceptable or expected. When we give feedback, we have to tell them what is expected of them and what is acceptable and unacceptable behavior. So you tell them this behavior that you showed is unacceptable or acceptable and expected, so that people can compare their behavior with the ideal behavior at work. Feedback should be simple and immediate. Please make sure all your feedback is in simple English, simple way, and also immediate and timely. If you don't give feedback timely, people tend to forget it, you will forget it, the other person will also not be able to relate to your feedback with their behavior, and that's when feedback loses its impact. Next point is try to talk about the behavior of concern rather than the person when you are giving feedback. So as I mentioned earlier, not criticism or appreciation, because criticism and appreciation are targeted at the person and not at their behavior. Behavior, as I said, is what you say or do. Try to control your own emotions. Angry or critical behavior from you or others will likely trigger more anger or aggression in the other person. So when we are angry and we shout at somebody, they usually either fight back, or they will just try to run away, or they will just freeze in fear. So it's extremely important for us to keep our own emotions in check when we are giving feedback to others. Some more tips for us: give the other person clear alternatives or choices about the behavior you want them to stop. So if somebody is displaying non-productive behavior, just make sure you give them an idea of what a productive behavior is, so that the next time they do the more productive behavior rather than the unaccepted behavior. It is essential to be consistent in managing behavior, especially in setting limits and giving feedback. So be consistent in feedback and make sure you keep setting limits. Make sure you stick to the limits that you have set. Make sure you are very clear about what is acceptable, what is unacceptable while giving feedback. Pay attention to your non-verbal communication, like your own tone of voice, your facial expressions, and your body language. As we can see here, pointing a finger at somebody is considered to be extremely aggressive style of body language, which kind of threatens the other person, and the other person may get into fight, flight, or freeze mode. Reinforce and encourage appropriate behaviors, as we said, reinforcement feedback and redirectional feedback. This brings us to the end of this short session on effective feedback skills. Thank you so much for being here and taking this course.